All right, let's dive right into this. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're taking a really fascinating journey through one of the most enduring narratives in human history, the epic life of Lord Rama. But look, we aren't just going to sit here and retell the story you probably already know. We're actually going to look at it through the lens of history, the ancient Sanskrit texts, and centuries of incredible visual imagination. We want to see exactly how the poetic words of the Valmiki Ramayana literally translated into the defining visual archetypes. You know, the magnificent paintings, the intricate carvings, and the moving images that billions of people instantly recognize today.
So, quick question for you. When you close your eyes and picture Lord Rama, what exactly do you see? Seriously, think about it for a second. Do you see a king sitting on a grand throne, a fierce warrior in a chariot, or do you see something much more specific, something that's been carefully shaped by thousands of years of continuous artistic tradition? Just hold that image in your mind for a moment.
I'm guessing the mental image you just pulled up, the dark-complexioned hero standing tall, holding a very specific bow called the Kodanda. Well, that isn't an accident. That foundational iconography comes directly from the source texts. The ancient descriptions painstakingly detailed his Sham Varna, or dark complexion, and his iconic stance as an archer. This imagery is so incredibly powerful that it basically became the definitive blueprint for sculptors, painters, and eventually modern media across the globe.
Okay, moving into Section 1, Name and Antiquity.
Before there was a visual identity, there was the word. The name Ram is derived from the Sanskrit root Ram, which means to dwell, to play, or to rejoice. But philosophically, it goes so much deeper than that. The great philosopher Adi Shankaracharya, in his commentary on the Vishnu Sahasranama, actually cited the Padma Purana to explain that Ram represents the eternal bliss in which yogis rejoice. So, right from the very start, the name isn't just a label. It's really a description of a state of profound spiritual joy.
Now, here is where the history gets super nuanced. If we look at the absolute oldest Vedic literature, the word Ram is actually there, but the context is completely different. The Rig Veda mentions it twice, once meaning dark color or night, and once referring to a specific person, but without any hint of divinity. Other ancient texts, like the Aitareya Brahmana and the Shatapatha Brahmana, use the name for specific teachers or instructors. So the crucial point we need to take away here is that while the name itself is incredibly ancient, his formalized status as the divine seventh avatar of Vishnu was crystallized later on, primarily through the epic poetry of Maharishi Valmiki and the Puranas.
Right, let's move on to Section 2, Birth and Childhood.
Moving into the physical narrative of his life on Earth, the birth of Rama in Ayodhya to King Dasharatha and Queen Kaushalya isn't just a textual milestone. It's honestly one of the most painted scenes in history. You have to see the visual fusion going on here. This is an ancient Hindu deity's birth, but celebrated through the distinct aesthetic lens of Mughal miniature painting. It's complete with Persian-style courtiers and these incredibly intricate architectural details. Emperor Akbar himself commissioned these vivid, beautifully illuminated visual retellings of the Ramayana. This visual of the royal court totally transcends cultural boundaries, capturing the imagination of emperors and everyday folks alike. But here's the thing. Valmiki didn't just say Rama was born on a nice day. He recorded a highly specific snapshot of the night sky. According to the text, Rama was born on the 9th day of the Chaitra month, under the Punarvasu nakshatra. Valmiki specifically notes that 5 planets were in their exalted or highest positions, with a Cancer ascendant featuring both the moon and Jupiter. It's not just poetry. It's essentially a precise, ancient astronomical screenshot perfectly preserved in verse.
Which brings us to Section 3, Exile and Sita's Abduction. From the majestic royal courts of Ayodhya, the narrative dramatically shifts and things escalate incredibly fast here, because Queen Kaikeyi calls in a royal boon. Rama, Sita, and his brother Lakshmana are suddenly sent into a 14-year exile, and this just sets off a massive chain reaction. Deep in the Dandakaranya forest, Ravana's uncle Maricha creates the ultimate visual distraction, a golden deer. While Rama and Lakshmana are drawn away, and despite that famous protective boundary known as the Lakshman Rekha, Lanka's king Ravana, disguised as a Saj, successfully abducts Sita.
And if you want to understand just how visceral and impactful this moment really is, you have to look at how artists captured it. The iconic 19th century painter Raja Ravi Varma famously committed this exact scene to canvas. And wow, he painted the sheer violence and tragedy of the moment perfectly. Notice the dynamic movement of the chariot, Sita's visible heartbreaking despair, and that dramatic fatal strike against the noble bird king Jatayu, who heroically tried to save her. Varma's painting cemented the emotional weight of this textual moment into an unforgettable visual masterpiece. It basically defined the scene for modern audiences.
All right, Section 4, Defeating Ravana and Ram Raja.
Obviously, this abduction forces the ultimate confrontation, and what follows is an absolute masterclass in systematic alliance building and warfare. Rama doesn't just blindly attack, he builds a massive coalition. Step 1 is forming an alliance with Hanuman and the Vanar king Sugriva. Step 2 is an unbelievable feat of engineering, constructing the Ram Setu bridge straight across the ocean to Lanka. Step 3 is the great war itself, systematically taking down Ravana's strongest generals before finally defeating Ravana. And then, the finale, the triumphant, highly visual return to Ayodhya aboard the flying Pushpak Vimana.
11,000. That is a massive number. And according to the Valmiki Ramayana, this is the specific number of years that Rama ruled over Ayodhya after his epic victory. It's really meant to signify an era of just unprecedented stability and longevity.
This 11,000-year reign is famously known as Ram Raja, and it's a concept that goes way beyond a historical text. Ram Raja defines an idealized period of perfect governance. We're talking absolute justice, profound societal happiness, and the total eradication of adharma, or unrighteousness. What's so fascinating is how this ancient blueprint for a utopian society remains profoundly influential in modern political and social discourse even today. It's the ultimate standard of the benevolent state.
And finally, Section 5, Modern Research on Birth Time. So, how on earth do you anchor an 11,000-year reign and a legendary battle with demons into our actual human timeline? Well, modern scientists and historians have essentially become astronomical detectives. They're using those precise planetary alignments Valmiki recorded to pinpoint an exact date using modern software. We have two prominent competing theories right now. Dr. Padmakar Vishnu Vertak used planetary mathematics to arrive at December 4, 7323 BC. Then, decades later, a research team known as iServe used planetarium software to propose January 10, 5114 BC. Though it's worth noting, the source mentions there's some debate about the software's accuracy for dates prior to 3000 BC. Now, we aren't here to declare a winner between these two dates. The real takeaway is just appreciating the incredible fact that an ancient poet left a sky map detailed enough that 21st century software can even try to decode it.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer, but I want to leave you with a really crucial thought. We've traced the linguistics, the astronomical charts, the epic battles, and the absolutely stunning visual legacy of Lord Rama. But here is the big question you should take away from all of this. How does a story and a concept of governance from potentially thousands of years before the Common Era still serve as the ultimate moral and visual archetype for perfection today? It is a massive testament to the power of a narrative that truly transcends time. Thank you so much for joining me on this visual and historical journey. Keep wondering, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.